just walk by.
Hello everyone, welcome to a very exciting game for today. My name is Joshua Fekesquest. I am here with Returned, and today is going to be Robert Morris University versus Columbia College varsity teams here. A lot of story here. Let's get into it a little bit before I throw it over to Return to break it down. Just for some context and backstory here. I don't know if anyone hasn't been keeping up with Collegiate League of Legends or anything like that. Last year was a little bit of a different landscape than we had this year. And with that being said, Drake Porter, he was actually the coach for Robert Morris University last year. Now he's the coach for Columbia College. Maybe looking for some retribution here.
Oh, most certainly. And not only that, RMU for him is just another stepping stone to make it to those conference playoffs. And we are in a 6-week Swiss format. This is week number 5, which means that if either of these teams, one of them's got to win, but whichever team does walk away with the win here guarantees themselves a spot in those conference playoffs. So this is a must-win situation.
Yeah, very much so. Both teams are undefeated. I don't believe Columbia College has dropped a single game in any of their matches. Robert Morris University has dropped one game. That was actually last week against Grand Valley State University, which is similar to last year. They seem to have a small rivalry going there, as last year they took a game off of them as well when it wasn't supposed to happen. This year may be a little bit different. We've detailed how Robert Morris University is a little bit of a different team this year. They're not quite what they were last year. At least they're proving that they actually are what they were last year and the years before, where they made it to the finals against UBC a couple of years ago, made it to the post playoffs last year, looking to do the same this year. So they're still looking to impress, but they are a different team all around. But still, they have dropped one game to Grand Valley State University.
And that one loss is actually a lot more impactful than some might think, because it really showed a chink in the RMU armor. With that match, it was the Grand Valley squad. They tried to play the late game scaling. They had the Kog'Maw. They had the Azir. A comp that very much looks like something that decided Columbia College might be running here. They love to just play with their opponents and wait for the team to make a mistake. And if RMU are uncomfortable playing against that, I have no reason to believe that Columbia College isn't just going to run that 2 games straight and look to knock them out of the water. Right,
and like you said, it's very pivotal today. There's only 2 weeks of games left before post playoffs. Two losses will knock you out of this tournament or at least knock you out of post-playoff contention. Let's not forget there is a Teemo Cup to go after, but neither of these teams want to settle for the Teemo Cup.
Oh, no.
Not at all. So this game, very pivotal. You don't want to lose. You don't want to put that pressure on you next week. Whoever wins this game will be guaranteed to go on to the post-playoff season, but they also just want to keep winning anyways, because that will guarantee them better seeding into the post-playoffs.
Most certainly, and there are only those 2 playoff spots actually up for grabs. So going into the conference... going in conference playoffs, everyone with a 5-1 or 6-0 record will make it on through, but you have to finish either first place or second place in that actual tournament to make it on to even have a chance to make it to the national championships. And this is a pretty stacked region. I mean, we have Maryville still hanging around. Lourdes went down last week. Columbia College, they still want a spot in, and there's a lot of competition going back and forth here. And on top of that, like you said, there is still time for one of these teams just to completely lose out and miss the playoffs altogether. And with 8.4 just over the horizon, big changes to how Baron and Dragon function fundamentally, things are getting scary.
Yeah, very much so, and I'm really excited. I believe we're actually still on 8.3, but yeah, when 8.4 comes along, that's actually going to be really interesting to see how the Baron interacts with these games, because right now these games can potentially go on for 70 to 80 minutes depending on how how a team comp is built, but that is going to be changing pretty soon. Thank God for that. But we are into picks and bans now. We do have Robert Morris University on the blue side. That is going to be Columbia College on the red side. That means Robert Morris, they get the first ban. They're going to take away that Jace from Misty Stumpy.
I mean, the one big criticism I have of Misty Stumpy is that when he's put onto the hard tanks like we saw last week versus Lourdes on Maokai, he has a tendency to not survive so well. The rest of the team's more than happy to pick up some of the slack, but maybe that's where RMU's trying to start pushing this draft already. And at Switchban, getting rid of some of these late game scalers as well. And I wouldn't be shocked to see something like the Tristana, like the Kog'Maw getting banned away.
Yeah, we're gonna see how that one goes. We did used to see some Nunu comps coming out with the combination of Kog'Maw or Azir. Azir is already off the board. Nunu is a trap. I think people are finally realizing that. Kog'Maw is still, Kog'Maw is, I said it. Kog'Maw is still very powerful though. There's no reason not to get him if you can get that late scaling team comp going. We see Galio taken away from, I'm going to, Nakvan. I'm assuming that's how you spell it, pronounce his name, Nakvan. And we also saw that, since Robert Morris University is going to take first pick, they do take away the gangplank from just some nobody. Missy Stumpy is a very skilled gangplank player, doesn't want to have that in somebody else's hands.
That's just a very common red side ban. You don't want either team to have that because just the scaling it provides. Varus is still on the board along with those junglers, but they're going to actually opt into the Zoe here, which with the Azir ban away is probably one of the top tier mid laners at the moment.
Yeah, confident enough to first pick that one, so that's going to allow Columbia College to counter pick the Zoe. But we do see them countering with a strong jungle pick, the Sejuani. Not surprised there. Sejuani is a pretty big mainstay in that jungle. Meanwhile, Evan RL going to go on to the Xayah. Did very well against Lords last week as Xayah. Evan RL popped off in quite a few of those games. Actually, quite a few. There's only 2 of them. But Xayah was one of them. Did very well on the Xayah. We're going to see what Robert Morris University decides to counter with here. I'm very excited for this game because, like I said, there is a rivalry. Even if the rosters changed, honestly, the coaches are relatively the same. We do have the coach from last time I checked, Dan Morzet, over on Robert Morris University. So there is some, still some heated rivalry there, some familiarity. Like, I want to best you, and this is how we're going to do it on the Rift. And week number 5 out of 6 here, so it's pretty huge. But Skarner locked in. I really like that pick. I feel like he's actually pretty strong nowadays.
He's definitely getting back up there. It's not quite the J4, even though that got slight nerfs, especially to its jungle clear efficiency with the armor reductions. But when you go back talking about the Columbia College roster, everything starts in the jungle, and Zach's going to be going on to the very comfortable Sejuani. And once again, if you saw the matches versus Lords, they just completely won out through the vision game. There was a J4 on the other side on the Lords jungler Hiami. They were just able to track him all the way and really dictated how that game would go. And they're already setting themselves up with a very nice 2-item spike. Xayah wants hit 2 items to really become that effective ADC, and Corki wants Triforce plus probably a little bit on the side before he can start popping off. So this team is already very well defining where they want to come out and win.
Yeah, very huge mid-game spike, and you have Sejuani as a front line for those 2 carries so far. I'm going to see what else they round out with, but we have the bans to get through. Rakan being taken away from Dean over on Columbia College, and they're going to take away Mikey's Varus. Don't want any of that long-range poke, especially when they have a big wall with Skarner and Braum. Ezreal, also another poke champion, being taken away from Mikey. We see a pattern here now, and we're going to see what the last ban from Robert Morris University is going to be. They have not banned anyone away from Julian, even though he's already... Actually, no, never mind. He's already picked. They haven't banned anyone away from Missy Stumpy besides the Jace, but they're actually going to take away Dean's Lulu to get rid of some of that counter engage.
And even on top of that, they have done some indirect things to kind of narrow out Missy Stumpy's pool. The Braum pickup in particular, that is directly to counter a potential Ornn matchup. Braum, you throw the shield down, it's incredibly hard for Ornn to actually find one of those engages. So they're already trying to just limit down his champion pool. Don't give him the GP, don't give him the Jace. Now they're going to keep working that one on down. And Varus pick probably is like the top ADC in the meta, with Kog'Maw really taking... I didn't even think it was that hard of a nerf on 8.3, but his win rate just like plummeted. So a lot of teams very hesitant to go back to that watering hole, but will be the Caitlyn actually get locked in.
Yeah, and I don't think we're going to see a Quinn in this game. I'd be very surprised. They're actually needing a support. They pick a support Quinn. I will be extremely excited, but also confused.
Well, I mean for the top lane, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, Braum. All right, thank you. I'm completely dense. That was the second time I did that. Dense on that one, but they do pick the Urgot in the top lane, so a little bit more of a tanky front line, coupled with the Skarner and the Braum, and then the nuke in the mid lane Zoe, along with Caitlyn for the DPS. And now we round out the other side for Columbia College with the Gnar in the top lane. So they also have the big beefy front lines, and this is what creates those 60-minute games. This is going to be really exciting for these team fights, because both of them have an idea of what they want to do. It's just who's going to execute it.
Most certainly. And already Columbia College is still focusing on that 2-item team fight. They have Xayah, they have Corki to get themselves to that point. Gnar still a good point of pressure that really means that Columbia College is never in a spot where they're going to have 3 losing lanes, because honestly, the Corki is a bit defensive. It's going to survive. Xayah versus Caitlyn, it can get a little bit pokey, especially with the Caitlyn going back and forth, but definitely relies a lot around where Zach and Dean actually play. But once they hit those 2-item spikes, they have put themselves in a spot with so many different tools to actually put this one forward. Sejuani for engage, Alistar with engage. If you want to get crazy, Corki with package can theoretically be used as engage, and Gnar, Misty Stumpy, has been making those big plays all across. And RMU, it's a little bit more split up about where their squad actually wants to play. I mean, you have the Urgot on the top lane who's still just trying to hold on and potentially even win out with some good macro versus Gnar versus Misty Stumpy. But it's a lot more pick-oriented as well. The Skarner, the Zoe, the Caitlyn, they just want to find individual members of Columbia College, knock them out, and then use that 4v5 advantage to just win out.
Yeah, and Skarner can do that very well. Zoe can do that very well. That's a huge advantage to them. So, yeah, definitely going to be seeing some picks here coming out from Robert Morris University. But like you said, there is so much engaged potential coming out from Columbia College that it's going to be, if they can't get the picks, it's going to be very difficult to really contend with this sort of scaling that that Columbia College has brought. It is a very traditional team comp that they have right now. Nothing too flashy. Corki, you could say is flash, but I mean, there's an obvious reason with the big power spike in the mid game. I mean, Corki is still very powerful, but Columbia College, they're bringing out a very tried and true meta team comp right now, and we've seen it before. They play it very well, and if they can get the way they want in the early game, they're going to snowball very hard into the mid game.
Yeah, and that's where you are going to have to keep your eyes on Zach in particular, because he is really the bread and butter. He is the core of the Columbia College. Unfortunately, no, it's not my team in here, but this is the core of the Columbia College aggression, and they love to have this man just go toe-to-toe with the enemy jungler, just trading back and forth vision, so it allows the dominant lanes for Columbia College to actually play on through. And when you look at this roster on player, I'm pretty sure they have either the highest ranked or one of the highest ranked players at each and every position, so this is almost a very Season 7 TSM-esque style where, Season 6 actually, where they just secure through the jungle and win out their lanes through their players, and they're definitely setting themselves up to do that. But if there's one part where I really want to watch for RMU, it's going to be mid lane on Zoe. If Nakin is in a matchup versus Julian who wants to play defensively, if he can start breaking open that lane, go get Urgot ahead, go get Mikey ahead, help Mikey get through the 2-item power trough, get him to 3 items, there's still a lot of life in this RMU squad.
Yeah, no, there definitely is, and that's going to be really interesting to see how they play that on the Rift, especially against, like I said, the very traditional team comp meta team comp that the Columbia College is bringing out. But before we do that, we do want to give a shout out to our social medias. 30 seconds left on the spectator delay, so we're going to go through those. If you want to follow us on Discord or be part of our Discord community, you can type !Discord in the chat, and it'll lead you to that. So join and become part of our community. Have your voice be heard. You can also follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/CStarLeague, as well as twitter.com/CSLLOL if you just want Collegiate League of Legends material updates and tweets. You can also follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/CStarLeague. And also want to give a shout out to Twitch for being there for us. You're actually watching us on Twitch, because that's where we broadcast from, because they've been with us from the very beginning, and we're very happy. We wouldn't be here without them, so thank you very much, Twitch. You can go follow them as well on Twitter at twitter.com/Twitch, and Facebook as well at facebook.com/Twitch. And one last shout out to our YouTube channel. You can actually go over to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/CStarLeague, technically youtube.com/user/CStarLeague. Search CStarLeague, you'll find us no matter what, and you can go there, find all the VODs that you missed, any of the talk shows that you missed. We have them weekly. Mine personally on Friday, check that one out. And any of the matches like today, you want to. This is a pretty big match, Columbia College versus Robert Morris University. There's some hype here. You missed this one, you're at work, go watch it later on. You can do that on our YouTube, youtube.com/CStarLeague. We are into the loading screen now, which means I actually hear pings. We're in the game. Here we go.
Okay, curious to see what the actual start's going to be coming out. Right now, Columbia College are looking for the spread out. They just want to defend against the early invade, because Zach will have the early ganking advantage. They want to make sure this man is not seen on the map, but RMU, they've got other ideas.
They're already getting the pick comp coming out here. They are just going to invade. There's not really much to invade with here besides a Braum Q and hope you get a few more auto attacks after that. There's really not any catch coming out. I don't believe the idea. Sleepy Trouble Bubble wasn't even started, so there's not really much there.
The idea there definitely is not going for the kill. They want to make sure they can track Zach, and they're perfectly fine with trading the warding game 1-for-1, because it's not that influential if Mini Beast is actually tracked in the early game. He's not going to pull off a phenomenal gank unless somebody very severely mispositions here. So they're Columbia College squad is very happy with this early game, and as long as no one gets caught out, they're going to be perfectly fine going on forward. Big thing for me are those 2 mini dematerializers, one up in the top lane, just some nobody on the That's an Urgot, yep. On the Urgot pick, and then mid lane with the Zoe, they want to make sure they've got some shoving power.
Yeah, and that does allow for, when, like, especially Zoe to roam a little bit easier. Julian can clear waves pretty easily with a Corki. But yeah, this is the first time since this patch that I've actually seen a team not run mini dematerializers. So none on the side of Columbia College. But again, those actually aren't activated for another few more minutes. We already have some poking coming out in the mid lane. Julian not backing down, knows that if you can't land that Q, your damage is highly diminished as far as level 1 goes from the Zoe, so going to be trading back, and actually he hits level 2 earlier. They have a little bit, they're actually on par, so it's not too much to report there as far as level advantage, but yeah, it is going to be interesting seeing how the dematerializers come into play on the Robert Morris University, if they can get that roam down.
And that's a big thing with the Zoe pick itself. If you get ahead, you're going to have a very easy time keeping up the wave clear game and then even enabling your own roaming game. But if you fall behind, things can look very, very grim if you don't have the damage to just clear the waves out to stay in the lane 1v1, or if you just get put behind by ganks. There could be very little movement coming out from RMU until we're ready for MiniBeasta to start making those ganks happen, and then it becomes, oh, is Zach just going to shut him out? Because that's what he's been doing every single game this season. There's a jungler who wants to get ganks off. They never get to get ganks off.
Yeah, definitely not. Although, speaking of ganks, we do have MiniBeasta actually going back already. And let's take a little note of this real quick. So the UI finally updated, or the HUD, I should say, finally updated for the spectator. We do see a spellbook on the unsealed spellbook, I should say, on MiniBeasta. So that, honestly, we've seen it before. That smite could turn into a teleport for a very surprise gank, something you're not expecting. I mean, we'd be happy whenever the objectives are down, obviously. That's a little too early for that. You don't want to give that up early on. But that is something I have seen, something we do want to take a look at and pay attention to, because there are two unsealed spellbooks on the side of RMU, and that could really change up the game and how it's played here. Ooh, yeah. No, didn't land a Q. Didn't get a Q off. Actually, probably on cooldown.
Yeah, and also, we've also seen Clutch Gaming's Lyra go with stuff like turning the Flash into a Ghost, turning the Smite into a Cleanse. There's a lot of different options there, and if they want to just keep MiniBeasta, keep making sure one person, either Julian or Evan RL, are not playing League of Legends, they could go for something like that, and if you have a Skarner with a Cleanse, it's nearly impossible to stop. The only thing that really could get in the way would be Dean on the Alistar, and that's going to take a good amount of play. Certainly something this Columbia College squad is capable of, but it's just adding that extra question mark if factor for me.
Yeah, very much. And actually, that is interesting too. You do see the unsealed spellbook onto a Skarner, because a lot of times you see the one that lets you charge up your
Predator.
Yeah, Predator. Thank you. Yeah, see Predator for those easier ganks, easier engages, and not to mention it synergizes so well with your Q. But he's not opting for that one this time around. He's going instead for the utility here, as we do see a little bit of trading coming in on the mid lane. Julian not getting the best of that one, but he is staying up in farm, so he's going to be safe. He's out of mana, still has Cleanse and Flash, so he does have a little bit of reprieve in that mid lane. But we do see both junglers coming in into the mid lane. Let's see where this one's going to land here. Both of them, both mid laners, almost overextending. Looks like Noctan is not going to be hit too hard. There's Sleepy Trouble Bubble onto Zach. Don't think it's going to equate into anything, though. He gets stunned up by MiniBeasta, who just does that and runs out. Shows he could be a nuisance. Gets a little bit of damage on Zach. Maybe he can make him go back a little bit earlier. We have an engage on the bot side, though, as Dean decides to go in some Pulverize action. Headbutt Pulverize. Mikey does have the Ignite onto him. It's not going to turn into anything, though. They decide to back off. Evan RL wants to just farm.
And they're going to be perfectly fine with just letting that bottom lane play out as is. Evan RL is going to be at a slight disadvantage just in the straight up power of that lane, unless Dean's actually able to turn something around with those combination plays. But I want to turn our attention back over towards this jungle game, because so far MiniBeasta and Zach have been pretty neck and neck with tracking each other through the jungle, with probably a slight advantage going over to the RMU squad with MiniBeasta. Like, when those two junglers came into the mid lane, everybody on the map knew where those two junglers were, so not seeing too much come out right there. And this is RMU buying that little bit of time, waiting for Columbia College before they hit that 2M spike, because the longer it takes for Columbia College to actually get to that point, the more time RMU is going to have on the front side of that spike and the back side of that spike to play around it. And so far they're doing a pretty good job with it, but this is only the preparation stage. They still need to execute when they have the advantage.
Yeah, And speaking of executing, somebody may be dying in the top lane or in the bot lane. Mikey, he's going to be staying safe though, as we do see a dive on the top lane. Sleepy Trouble Bubble onto Missy Stumpy. He does gnar out, but he also gets pulled back in. Is he going to go down? Who's going to pick it up? That is going to be Mini Bestia with the first blood. He takes 2 turret shots, and he does go down. Zac picking up that one, and now Julian in the top side for the counter gank as well. Sleepy Trouble Bubble onto Zac, and that is going to net Nockvan another kill. Actually, no, it's first kill. Sorry about that, but 2 on 2, or 2 kills for 2 kills on the top side, but the first blood does go over to Robert Morris University.
Yeah, so far very solid play coming out from the RMU squad, but a little bit too long of a stay, and a good response there from Julian, a good response there from Zac. Does mean overall it's going to be about a small gain for the RMU squad, but it's just great tracking for both sides, and Columbia College were not in any real way ready to turn that play around. They've got no vision on the top side, and they were on the back foot with the actual roaming play, and those are the kind of plays Nockvan has to keep making if he wants to actually form some sort of advantage, because already he's pretty far down in the CS game, down 10, about 12 CS actually right now to Julian on that last play.
Oh, pulverized headbutt onto Mikey. He may end up going down here. He actually used his, no, he held on to his heel. Never mind, that was the Fleet of Footwork making its way for the heal there. But he held on to his summoners. Evan RL still not in position to get that kill. Knows that Mikey has the summoners left, so is not going to use his own summoners to try to get Mikey's. That's what the jungle's for. Maybe seeing that pretty soon, as Mini Bestia does secure the Rift Scuttler around the Dragon Pit on the bot side. He is making his way down. Evan RL and Dean maybe a little bit overextended here. There is no ultimate on Mini Bestia, so he's not going to be able to put anyone on a stinger and bring him into a position. But Zac actually whiffing the Glacial Prison. Is it going to be enough? Is it actually, it might not matter, because Julian still picks up the kill. A lot of damage, even through the exhaust from Julian, getting that kill onto Nockvan in the mid lane.
Yeah, great gank coming out right there from Zac. Finally turns around that mid lane. And it just puts Nockvan even further behind. Sure, he still has the gold from that initial kill, but Julian's going to be having a pretty decent time scaling up now, and every little bit of gold that goes back Columbia College just speeds up that clock a little bit, to the point where they are ready to just pop off across the board. And I mean, we've seen what happens when Columbia College gets an advantage. It is not pretty.
That's gorgeous for them.
Well, yeah.
certainly not for the enemy team. No, you are 100% correct on that one. They know how to take an advantage and run with it. We saw it last week against Lords. We're not expecting that kind of a lopsided 2 games, but it did happen because Columbia College, they have they know how to play the game. They know how to play some League of Legends. They know how to take advantage when they have that advantage in League of Legends, and that's something they're trying to gain. Robert Morris University, they're not quite letting them have it, but it is slowly getting that way. Julian at 2-0 with some CS lead as well. He's got his Sheen working his way toward that Triforce. Once that happens, know that damage will be insane come 15 minutes or so.
Without a doubt, and a little bit of fighting back and forth on the bot side, but so far Evan RL and Dean are having a pretty good time on this bottom side. I did not expect them to have this hard of an advantage, just with completely controlling where the waves are, but you're seeing Mikey and Nibbler, they have to give so much respect, and Evan RL, he's going to be hitting the earlier spike by far.
Yeah, the CS gap is slowly widening there as well. Evan RL 93 with Mikey at 85. Dean, he is headbutt pulverizing quite often, knowing he can take the damage, and he still has flash to get out, and they do have the heal as well with the Relic Shield and just the skill set of Alistar. So they are staying very safe. They're trying to keep this turret, or this wave underneath turret, poke it down. Maybe even looking for a turret dive, as Zac is in the bot side. He does have Glacial Prison up right now. Yeah, Julian also needs to be careful. Sleepy Trouble Bubble not going to be netting a kill this time around, but the Mini Bestia, his impale, his big stinger, it is up. But
ooh, Stumpy has TP.
He does. There it is. Yeah, we see TP coming in on the back, TP coming in on the tower, as well as just some nobody, maybe too little too late, as Mikey goes down. Evan RL picking up that kill. This is going to be an outright turret dive, it looks like. And there is Evan RL using his ultimate, but it's stopwatched by Nockvan being taken. So that is all that is. Missy Stumpy is on the wrong side of town. He's going to go down. Zib Nibbler picking that one up, and now he's going to launch himself a nice Q into the face of Evan RL. But still, 1-for-1 right now. Just some nobody actually canceled his teleport. Let's take note of that one. He's not down there. Mr. Stumpy gave his life for that one. Sleepy Trouble Bubble onto Zach, but it's not going to hit him. Oh, no, never mind. It hit Evan RL, and that actually chunked him quite a bit and made Columbia College think differently about how they're going to play this game right now, as they have to go back and not pressure that turret anymore. Meanwhile, just some nobody left to his own devices in the top lane, poking down Mr. Stumpy's turret.
That was actually a huge win coming out for RMU. Columbia College spent a lot of time and effort and ultimates, not to mention the completed TP from Missy Stumpy, to actually make that play happen, and they only trade 1-for-1, no tower. RMU, they're still in a great spot.
Yeah, they are. There's the cleanse being used by Julian as he gets the flower to get himself away. Let's take note of Knockvan. He does have a Zhonya's on his skill set there from his whenever he heals a skill. So he does have a little bit of reprieve here if Julian decides to go in onto him, which looks like he is. Dean is there as well. There's Azania's used. He doesn't have flash, but he can. Of course, he's a Zoe can get out. Julian may be in trouble now. There's the teleport from just some nobody. And who is he going to be targeting? He's actually Sleepy Trouble Bubble onto Dean. Chunks him so hard. My God, you cannot get hit by that, or else your life bar is going to disappear, even as an Alistar.
Yeah, Zoe does damage. For all of you who haven't played League in a while, Zoe does in fact deal damage. Mr. Stumpy now trying to respond with a little bit more of the pressure on that top side of the map, but Columbia College are feeling like they may be trying to force a little bit too much right now. They've been used to playing teams who don't punish them for some of their over-aggressive plays when they don't actually have the advantage, and I'm almost feeling Columbia College just needs to hit those 2 items marks, buy themselves enough time, and then once they hit that point, just look to put it away, because right now, some of these plays, especially with that bot lane tower dive, if one more thing goes wrong, all of a sudden RMU have the resources to just break open this game.
Yeah, and I mean, they actually do have the gold advantage right now, which, I mean, it's not very much, especially when it's only a few hundred gap, but it's the fact that Columbia College, they're not running away with this one like they may have expected to, like some people may have expected to. Robert Morris University are putting up quite a fight, and that's why I love this rivalry right now, because, like I said, it's Drake Porter's old team. Hold on, I'll take you to that in a moment. We have a dive in the top side here. Sleepy Trouble Bubble is going to miss. Missy Stumpy, can he gnar out before he goes down? I don't know if he can. He is going to. Picks up the kill on to Knockfan. Huge outplay by Missy Stumpy. Gnars Mini Bestia and some nobody out of the way, but some nobody still gets that kill. Now we might have a dive on the bot side as the first turret does go down. That was the race that was happening, and RMU won that race, getting the turret in the top side, but it's now answered back on the bot side. Evan RL picking up the counter turret, but the first turret gold does go over to Robert Morris University.
And so far, RMU plus Columbia College, they're trading fairly equally, and this is perfectly fine by Columbia College. They've actually come out ahead with that mid lane play, and that's a lot of efforts expended there from the RMU squad to get top lane that slight advantage, grabbing that tower. And it's now going to be up to just some nobody to be able to hold on to this side lane advantage. He doesn't have the item advantage just yet. He doesn't have the Ninja Tabby to combat out what just some nobody does have, but so far, Columbia College definitely having a lot better team play at the moment, are going to be walking away with the straight gold lead as well, but it's the intangibles that are currently in favor for the squad of RMU, and it's going to be up to them to really turn those intangibles into a tangible.
Maybe having a fight here in the mid lane. Then it looks like Robert Morris University just wants to play safe. They do have the Rift Herald now. That is on Mini Bestia, as he did pick that one up as Columbia College, excuse me, taking up the dragon. So first dragon of the game does go over to Columbia College. I think I just did that twice in a row there. But Columbia College, they do have the first Drake. That is going to be the Mountain Drake. So a little bit of pressure on this Baron and these objectives overall. But yeah, that was a nice trade in favor of Columbia College. Able to get 2 turrets out of that and the dragon. Meanwhile, just 1 turret and the Rift Herald for Robert Morris University. And that was essentially them just knowing they were losing that overall trade and trying to just try to minimize that and get the Rift Herald. Might be able to pick up turret soon.
Yeah, they do have to be pretty safe going on forward, but already bots on the map completely under control for Columbia College. They just want to keep this game stalling out. They know that Missy Stumpy is the one that RMU has been trying to put behind, and that's mostly where they'll be focusing their efforts for the next few minutes here, but the timer really has got to be looking at about that 4-minute mark. That's how much time it should take to get Evan RL, to get Julian on these 2 item spikes, and once they hit that, they are ready to fight, whether it be the Dragon, whether it be the Baron, or whether it just be this top tower.
Yeah, we're going to see what happens, but right now what's happening is Dean, he is in the bot side, there's the Pulverize, there's the Gnar into the wall, just some nobody, he's going to go down, it's going to be Mr. Stumpy picking up that kill Very nice, clean gank by Dean. Saw that there was an overexposure. There's a teleport into the top side, driving RMU back. Sleepy Travel Bubble going to be on that teleport, but it was actually canceled, so it's not going to hit anybody. Misty Stumpy is just going to stay bot now that they scared RMU away.
Mini Beast, he's going up to top lane, has swapped the Ghost back to the Smite, so not going to be that fast on the draw. Don't really think that too much is going to be coming out of this top lane just yet, but... Oh, mid lane!
Oh, yeah, there's Mikey. He's going to go down. Who's going to be? Yeah, Evan RL. That was so quick. That is so much power coming out from Xayah. That's the same thing we saw last week against Lords whenever Evan RL played Xayah. You give him one opportunity, especially come to this mid-game, as the mid-game approaches, and he will just completely delete you. Dean gives ample time to pulverize headbutt. Very nicely played by Columbia College.
And this is why Columbia College is hyped as probably the overall national favorites at the moment. Because no matter the opponent, they force you to play their game. Point in case, bot lane. Once again, the entirety of this early game has been focused on trying to get just some nobody ahead of Mr. Stumpy and Misty Stumpy. And ooh, bit of fighting.
To be fair, he'd probably enjoy being called Mr. Stumpy as well.
Oh, Misty Stumpy.
Yeah, Misty Stumpy. He needs to making these fancy footworks here with the dodging these ability shots by just some nobody. But there is the Rip Hail going down into the mid lane. That usually means a turret is going to go down. Dean popping his ult to get out of the Sleepy Trouble and mitigate some of that damage. But somebody is caught. Can't quite tell who it is, but I will soon. Zach, it was Zach. He goes down, get impaled. Dean goes down as well as the turret with the Rift Herald charging its way into the mid lane. Big power play coming out from RMU right now.
A bit of disrespect being put out there by RMU. They don't, from Columbia College rather, they keep Julian in that top lane. They don't go all to cover mid lane, and once they give that up, they don't back off of it. They end up losing Zach and Dean on the backside of that fight, and they might even be looking for another tower. But to go back to what I was saying a bit earlier was that the majority of this early game from RMU has been very focused on this Urgot versus Gnar matchup, and when they got that first swap in, when they put Misty Stumpy and Just Nobody in that bottom matchup, it was Columbia College that secured the vision game first. It's Columbia College that made the play to actually influence that matchup, kind of negating out one of those mid-game win conditions away from the side of RMU. It's this control that keeps them in the lead, but I've honestly not seen anyone yet this season punish the arrogance of Columbia College like RMU has, and so far it's working out pretty well, even going into this mid-game, but we're just around the corner from that legendary 2-item spike we've been talking so much about, and this is where Columbia College has to take the game over.
Yeah, and that might just be the familiarity of how Drake coaches. I mean, again, he was the coach for Robert Morris University last year, the assistant. Nope.
Unlucky.
I see what you're doing there. For anyone who doesn't get that, check Twitter. There's a lot of who's going on. Someone's Al. But we have a catch here. Mini Bestia might be getting caught out, but Knockvan gonna make sure that's not gonna happen. But so the assistant coach for Robert Morris University, the assistant to Drake last year, actually stepping up as head coach. So there's some definite familiarity here. That's why this game was gonna be so exciting coming into it. We know that there's something here. That we know there's chemistry and familiarity. We know that there's some sort of playbook that each of these coaches have that they might be privy to. Robert Morris University just playing it a little bit better this time around as we approach 20 minutes. The Baron just now came up. We see both teams establishing a lot of vision control around that Baron pit. That is going to be a huge point of contention soon as we see Zach, the Glacial Prison, going in straight on a Mini Bestia. He gets destroyed. Evan RL on the back lines picking up that kill. That was 4v1 catching out Mini Bestia, and that's something that Robert Morris University is supposed to be doing, is the catching.
Yeah, and not only do they knock out the jungler, but they knock out probably one of the most important members for RMU at the moment. It is on the back of Mini Bestia that they've made a majority of their plays. If you look at that gold lead, it's 7.5 to 6-0 flat. And yeah, this guy's been doing work not only in the ganking game, not only in the vision control game, but also in that just self-farming game. And without him on the map, they just have to surrender everything, and this could be the play that sets Columbia College up for success. They're hitting those spikes, they're getting ready to focus on this Baron pit, and one more play like that, Baron goes on over, multiple towers start falling, and that's where the snowball really starts picking up.
Yeah, and I love the itemization coming out from Julian and Evan as well, because if they do get picked, they have, Julian has Cleanse and he has Quicksilver Sash. Evan RL has Quicksilver Sash also. So there's a lot of get out of jail here, get out of picks, get off of the Stingers, the Scorpion Stinger here, if Julian or Evan RL do get picked up here. And that's something that they saw in Champion Select. They want to avoid, obviously, entirely, because they obviously don't want to get picked at all. They're making sure that they reduce that chance by a huge margin, as we do see, again, more vision being put around the Baron. The Dragon is up as well. That is going to be the Ocean Drake. There's not too much pressure on it at the moment, but it is something that could be gotten. As the later we get into these games, the more powerful those Drakes do become, especially once the Elder Drake comes up. So expect to see a little bit of contention coming around there as well, but do have to watch out for this Baron. As we see Julian picking up the Rift Stubbler just to secure their own unclearable vision on that side. So much focus on vision right now.
Yeah, especially around this Baron, because it's the vision that enables all these plays for Columbia College, and you don't normally see this with a lot of mid-tier teams where they'll set up vision game, they'll kind of go back to lane, and it'll be traded back and forth, but Columbia College, and even RMU to a little bit lesser extent at the moment, are so quick to pull the trigger. If you come and try to contest their vision, they will make a play on you almost immediately. And that's how you play some of these top-tier teams. Plus, the vision controls secured around the top side makes it very easy for these rotations between the mid lane, between the top lane, and if they catch a few members of RMU, maybe not catch them out by killing them, but catch them lagging behind, they could easily go take a tower or even force the Baron.
Yeah, there is some contention here. Sleepy Trouble Bubble is actually cleansed away by Evan RL. Might have a fight here. Who's caught out? That is going to be Nibbler being picked up. He was caught out with the Glacial Prison. Sometimes it's hard to tell. All the character models being covered in ice. Sleepy Trouble Bubble onto Dean. I don't think it's going to equate to too much. As you see Stumpy just destroying people with his boomerangs, but that was a nice ultimate coming out from Mini Bestia to take out Zach. And it's going to be some pressure down on that Baron, but it's answered back as now Knockban is taken out. But who else is going to come out? Missy Stumpy. He's actually going back. Julian, he's barely alive, but he's poking from the back lines. Evan RL just destroying everybody as well. Nobody able to take down Julian. Nobody able to take down Evan RL. Big win for Columbia College. They're going to get themselves a turret.
Absolutely massive win. Right now, Evan RL is 6-0-1, has 2.8k in the pocket. He is ready to hit his mid-game stride, and that's kind of just this back and forth fighting coming out from RMU, unable to commit onto anything, and once that trigger gets flipped, Columbia College, they just come out on top, and huge kudos over there to Missy Stumpy. He gave his life for a great ultimate, solidifying 2 more kills, and really solidifying that fight does go in favor of Columbia College. This is great playmaking from each and every single member, and this is one team working together as a fighting force.
Yeah, this is Columbia College is edging out. They do have that power spike. This should be their time to really shine. RMU, they're still giving them a run for their money, but it's just slowly edging in the favor of Columbia College. As we see, it's 41k to 43.7k, not as even as it was, but Zib Dimbler, he's going back to secure some of the vision control over the Baron here. Knowing that if another fight like that happens, they could be losing Baron, so they need to be aware, need to be ready for that. So we do see now Columbia College answering back, going to be taking that one out. And this is a huge, just, I guess, it's on a knife's edge right now is what I'm trying to say. RMU, they're barely losing these fights. Columbia College, likewise, they're barely winning these fights. So still anybody's game right now. But Evan RL, yeah, 6-0-1. He's going for that top KDA, going to take it away from Hayami over on Lords. But we see Zib Nibbler, he's getting caught out again. This is a huge catch. This is so many times Zach has launched himself in to get a catch onto anybody they can. Julian picking up that one with the rocket from the backside. And now that is a support down on the side of RMU, and that's 4v5. Columbia College, they're going to go onto the Baron.
And just so nobody does not have a TP available, he's trying to split away, but Columbia College, they're going straight onto this Baron.
Oh, there's Dean just absolutely zoning everybody. Columbia College, they get the Baron. They don't want to, well, actually no, RMU I should say, they don't want to engage here. They're actually going to back off wisely. Columbia College, they're going to go back and spin their spoils. Now they have pushing power with that Baron empowered, with the Baron powered minions. 6-0-1 Evan RL, 3-0-4 Julian. They have all the power in the world right now, and they think they're going to capitalize on it now.
Oh yeah, they've got 2 items on all of their main carries in this game. They are ready to break this match open right now, and what happens during these next 3 minutes with the Baron buff are going to define the game. Because the biggest discrepancy for me right now has to be the ADCs. Mikey on 2 items versus Evan RL on 2 items is night and day. And even on top of that, there should be a huge gold discrepancy. Yeah, 12k versus 9k gold, respectively, with those ADCs. Evan RL is ready to pop off during these fights, whereas Mikey, he really needs to hit that third. He needs to hit that 4th item before he's ready to output. And honestly, also Navkan, just Knack in general, on Zoe, hasn't really popped off that hard for me. He's gotten really close in some of these fights to turning it all the way around, but he hasn't found that one backline shot to just win the fight. And all that's still possible, but it's going to be extremely difficult in this sort of pressure.
Yeah, with the big beefy front line like Mr. Stumpy, Zach, Dean, it's so hard to get those Sleepy Trouble and Paddle Stars off. You see the bot lane inhibitor turret just pressured. So much damage to go on at a short amount of time. One more wave. They actually have 2 cannon minions there just pelting away at it. One more wave will do it unless there's something huge coming out from Robert Morris University. If they have a trigger to pull, now would be the time to pull it, but they just can't find their mark right now. You do see the Yordle snap traps all lined up in front of the turret, but it's just going to delay the inevitable as the inhibitor turret does go down on the bot side. Now the inhibitor, it is being pressured. There's nothing to defend that one. RMU, they don't want to overstep their bounds. Columbia College, they're looking more to form now. They're in a very comfortable position.
And that's the issue with the composition for RMU, especially with how they're playing it at the moment. It's very reliant on somebody getting ahead early. Zach, ooh, flashes go out.
Yeah, flashes, yeah, that's something they need to watch out. Zach, we were talking about in the Champions Select that RMU, they're the pick comp pull on. They're actually going to pick Zach, a big beefy Zach. I don't know if it's a good idea, but actually they feel like it is because he goes straight down. Can't get the fear of death out of you. And Missy Stumpy, he is going to dive in only by himself though, but a big ultimate from Evan RL. Can they turn this around? Nocvan able to pick up that kill onto Misty Stumpy overall, and there's the cleanse from Evan RL. He is finally going to go down. That's Mikey picking up that kill. RMU, this is going exactly their way. They may be able to turn this game around now.
That is a do or die fight from RMU. If they do not find something right there, they're just looking at another inhibitor going down, and then just being left with absolutely no base, no area to actually make a play. But that injection of gold, and most importantly, that injection of just map control at the moment is going to help them get on through. It's going to buy time for Mikey, maybe to get close to this 3rd item here for Knock to start scaling up as well, and maybe let Justinobi become that bigger, beefy presence they need him to be in the middle of these fights, because they just are a little bit further away. But the main issue still persists, that the RMU squad, unless they can establish vision control, unless they can find those cheeky little picks of Columbia College mispositioning, they don't really want to team fight. They don't have any big AoE. They don't have any big game-changing or fight-changing ultimates. It's all focused on getting one member down. And even with this RMU squad versus Columbia College, I don't know if, even if you knock down Evan RL, Julian still has the capability to carry a fight. Misty Stumpy's still been playing absolutely phenomenally, and everything is still put together. It's just not enough at the moment, and they've got to find that one play that puts them ahead, because without that, Columbia College, they just win in the straight-up 5v5.
Yeah, and it's been proven so far, and even so, RMU, they want to pick somebody. But honestly, Zach has been doing such a great job at that as well, with throwing his Glacial Prison at anybody from afar and then launching into them. He usually has some sort of backup as well, and that is something that I feel like Robert Morris University just hasn't had yet. They haven't, when they maybe have an opportunity for a pick, there's nobody there. They haven't really been a cohesive unit as Columbia College has been traveling around together. When they get a pick, they can get a kill. That's exactly what Columbia College has been doing. Is now RMU. We see them just defending their turrets, just trying to keep another turret from going down. Because the gold is not that big of a difference. The biggest difference is that inhibitor in the bot side going down. They're just stalling out for that right now. Nocvan landing a Sleepy Trouble bubble, but that is going to be allow Julian to still get out. He doesn't have to blow his cleanse or his Quicksilver Sash. He's just going to launch himself out. A big line in the sand drawn with those Yordle snap traps on the top side. And RMU, they just have to defend and wait this out right now.
Yeah, that's the name of the game. Bot lane being held for now by Justinobi. He's already on his way back up to this fight, and a big pick here could turn things around.
Oh, Julian, he gets chunked a little bit. He has to back out. Misty Stumpy is trying to put some pressure elsewhere. Just some nobody is going to match that, though. But yeah, Columbia College, they completely back off, seeing that Julian is chunked out just a little bit. Sleepy Trouble Bubble barely misses Julian there. That may have actually equated into a kill based on how mobile, I should say, Knockvan is with the Zoe. Can actually get that Paddle Star from a very huge distance and chunk the entirety of Julian's health out, but it's just going to play it safe.
I mean, if there's one champion you want in this sort of pick competition where you're just looking for the odd kill to just buy you more time, Zoe is by far like the best. Maybe Malzahar coming up pretty close there too, just able to lock down super hard, but just the one shot potential you get if you hit anyone with that Sleepy Time Trouble Bubble is enough to turn the outcome of some of these matches. And Columbia College are built up on this built up on this very coordinated style of play where they're able to plan everything out, and killing a member, just nuking someone down like that, does throw those wrenches into those plans. So I think it's a good play style to be with. Unfortunately, at the moment for RMU, they were not able to actually solidify any sort of advantage across the map. I mean, sure, just so nobody's still doing fine on the matchup versus Gnar, but Naken has kind of stayed even at the moment. And ooh, Mikey.
Yeah, a catch out, but that was a big Braum wall to get through, and I don't think it's actually... No, never mind. They actually turned it around. Evan RL picking up Braum, but it's actually turned back. Zach going down as well, so that is pressure off of this Baron for Robert Morris University. There's no smite from Columbia College. Baron just became live. That might be something Robert Morris University wants to look at. Their inhibitor is up now. They don't have to worry so much about that one. This is a risky play. Columbia College going into the Baron with no smite.
I mean, they just do it so quickly. Double ADCs, no enemy team just yet. They're going to get this.
Oh, wow. Okay, they did. So Columbia College picking up the Baron. Dean trying to zone out Mini Bestiae, actually maybe going down for it because Mikey and Knockvan are in hot pursuit here. Knockvan picking up that kill, but that means 3 members of Columbia College are able to get out and have Baron. So Sacrificial Lamb from Dean, but Baron still picked up all the same for Columbia College.
Balling inhibitor, not quite going to fall just yet, but that was the Sacrificial Lamb, or the Sacrificial Cow, however you want to look at that one. Buying the Baron buff for the side of Columbia College, and I'd say this is the Baron buff that really either ends the game one way or another, because Columbia College, sure, they've hit their spikes, they are going to be scaling on up, but if they are not able to convert on this advantage, that's just leaving too much up to chance for me. And I wouldn't say they lose the game if they don't knock over at least another inhibitor with this Baron, but it becomes a lot more of almost a 50-50 game of, all right, who's just going to make the first play? So right now I say this is when they have their last real semblance of a major advantage if they're not able to solidify a larger gold lead with this buff.
Yeah, this standoff, who's going to make the first play first, that is what leads to these long games because both teams are so cautious, so conscious of where they're stepping that they don't make these wrong moves to be caught out. So we're going to see if that one holds true. It's approaching 35 minutes now, which if both these teams have their way as far as their team comps go, that's going to be only half the game done. But we've seen this before where any team can just outlast and outlast and outlast. That is why some of us are looking forward to the next patch where Baron is a little bit more powerful, but you have to wait to get there till next week. Right now, this Baron is not going to be as powerful for the shoving. Still helps, but there's so much of a front line that can be built by both teams. You wonder if it can really be that effective. Zach isn't able to catch anybody out as easy as he was. People are getting tankier. Julian, though, maybe getting caught out. There's these Glacial Prison also being thrown out. Is whiffing, mostly as a zone. Mitzi Stumpy and Some Nobody, they can, I guess, they can just duel each other and maybe go equal here, but there are minions in the favor of Misty Stumpy. Now Dean making his way over here. If they can pick off just Some Nobody, this is actually going to be huge. Evan RL's there. They're going to pick him off. That's a shutdown going over to Misty Stumpy. That is exactly what Columbia College needs.
And this will continue the 3-1-1. Looks like they're going to keep Zach on the mid lane. They just want to break something at the moment and get this indecisiveness out of the squad for RMU. And this is what's going to break open this match. They're trying to knock down this top lane inhibitor.
They get it. Easy peasy with Evan RL there. No problem. Julian split pushing the bot side. There's a flash coming out from Knockvan. It was just his Spellthief's flash. He actually has his own summoner still, so he can do that once more. Julian is going to be able to take that one down. The Stinger being put onto Dean, but he just walks right out. There's no damage coming out from the side of Robert Morris University as their main damage dealer just got destroyed by Evan RL. 8-1-3 right now. Superstar of the game.
Yeah, now they're just turning their sights over towards that mid lane with no mid laner, no top laner. There's nothing RMU can do but sit under those double Nexus towers, and Nibbler
makes it out. He's a very tanky Braum, let's not forget. But he needs to be there for the front line. He can't let Nocfan be deleted like that. Now, empowered minions are in the base. Actually, I believe Baron just left Columbia College. This may be a huge play for Robert Morris University. They can pick off somebody here. Dean able to distract long enough to get that first Nexus turret. Evan RL in the front lines needs to be careful, but there's no forward aggression coming out from Robert Morris University, and that allows Columbia College to pick up their pieces and go back after destroying the base of Robert Morris University.
They're stacked as 5. I mean, he has to be very careful because if he gets caught out, that could be the game over right there. And all RMU can do is just sit under that base and hope that they can hold out against all 3 waves. But Columbia College, they've got to be feeling so confident in themselves. Double Mercurial Scimitar built, double crit items being built on everyone, with 3 crit items, actually 4 crit items rather, going over to Evan RL. So these double carries are ready to carry. Their names are not a mistake. They want to put this game away right here, right now, and one more push, that could be all it takes.
Yeah, I believe Columbia College, they are looking for that one last push. There's no objectives to be taken anymore besides the Nexus turret and the Nexus itself. They have taken everything else off the map. There's no Drake. That was actually taken by Robert Morris University. Regardless, there's no Drake, there's no Baron, there's no inhibitors left. This is a huge amount of pressure on Robert Morris University, and this is the point. Okay, so there was a flash and an impale onto Mississippi, but he is a huge target. And now Julian coming in from the back line. Mississippi, he does.
They got him!
Down. Julian, yeah, they got him. Julian is actually in trouble. He has to Valkyrie over the wall. Mississippi, can they fight this at a 4v5 right now? Evan RL, he is still a mass amount of power, able to take out Nocfan. This is exactly what Columbia College wants. There's the Nexus turret going down with them. That's actually, they're just stalling time for them, the Super Minions to get in the base, and now they turn their attention onto the Nexus. Nobody can do anything about it on the side of Robert Morris University, and that is Columbia College taking game number 1 in a best of 3 in this rivalry match of the week.
Yeah, a very solid performance from Columbia College. Probably the closest match we've seen from them all season so far. So RMU are getting close there, but in the end, they just don't find the advantage. Columbia College, despite being a little bit back and forth at some points in the game, they always felt in control, and I'm still looking for that one team that just takes over the game from them, and right now that just didn't happen. RMU's got to go back to the drawing board, find out a composition that worked for them, because it felt like they were relying on some lanes to just get so large of an advantage to actually carry them on through. They didn't have any true scaling factors. I mean, they had the Caitlyn, who doesn't do too bad once you get the 3-4 items. Like we saw Sneaky during the World Championships, I think, like, set the world damage record on a Caitlyn itself. So, but there's just nothing that stood out to me as this is how we win the game right now. So definitely go back to the drawing board, see what they actually come up for game number 2, because this series is still very much not over just yet.
No, not at all. Robert Morris University, like you said, put up probably the biggest fight I've ever seen against Columbia College thus far in this season. So I'm very excited for game number 2. Remember, this is a best of 3. Both these teams are undefeated. And Robert Morris University, they just lost their second match of the entire season thus far. Not losing a set yet, but they lost once against Grand Valley State last week. And now, this time, barely dropping one to Columbia College. My name is Joshua Fekes-Quest. I'm here with Return. We're going to get it set up for game number 2. Stick around. It's going to be very exciting. We'll be back in just a moment.
Once again. again. Once again.